Hello, it is time to start our math today. Make sure that you have your packet for lesson 5. I know that's a little bit hard to read, so I'm going to start writing it right here. Be certain that you have your name and your last initial and the date that we will be doing this assignment. So we'll be working on lesson 5. So we're going to set that aside for just a minute. And I am going to remind you about counting the 10 way. So let's go ahead. I am going to give you, I'm going to move this up just a little bit. I have to have it a little bit closer when we're doing the actual paper, but when I'm doing work on the desk, then you'll be able to see what I'm doing better. So let's do happy counting, and we're going to be counting the 10 way. So if I said 6, 10, 2. Would you know what 6, 10, 2 was counting the 10 way? I'm going to give you a second to think about that. We've been counting 6 tens. So I've got 6 tens and 2 ones. Did you come up with 62? If you did, congratulations. That's exactly what we are coming up with. What if I said 7, 10, 9? Would you know what 7, 10, 9 was? 7, 10, 9 would be 7 tens and 9 ones. Are you starting to figure out how to count the 10 way? If I was going to, I'm going to erase that and give you a couple more. Let's do 9. It's a little bit wet. 9, 10. Oh dear, I've got it too wet. Oh goodness sakes, Miss Star, you've got it too wet. All right, let's try. What if I had, oops, too high up. 9. Uh-oh. Now my marker's not working very good. 9, 10. There we go. 9, 10, 9. What would 9, 10, 9 be? That would be 9 tens and 9 ones, which would be 99. 9, 10 would be 9, 10, 9 would be 99. What about 8, 10, 4? 8, 10, 4? Did you come up with 84? If you did, congratulations. I'm going to come over here and do one. What if I did 6, 10, 1? 6, 10, 1? Did you say this? I'm hoping you did. Remember, if I get going too fast, you can always pause the video. So this is counting the 10 way. Let's see if we've got space for one more. Let's do 5, 10, 3. 5, 10, 3 would be 5 tens and 3 ones, or 53. So counting the 10 way. Oh, this is always an entertaining job, isn't it, my friends? Trying to get this to work the way we want it to. There we go. I might have to wipe it and then come over and dry it so that I can still keep working. I'm still trying to figure this out. All right, so now we're going to put together and take apart. And we're going to do put together and take apart with making our plus 10 facts. So if I showed you 10 plus 5, well, that is just not going to be very nice. So if I showed you 10 plus 5, you would know that that is equal to 15. Yes? What if I said to you I wanted to know what would make 16? Could you help me with that? What would make 16? Would that be 10 plus 6? You would be absolutely right, because 10 plus 6 is equal to 16. All right, we're going to do a couple more of those. If I can get this to do what I need it to do. Maybe we need to do this. We're just kind of struggling here a little bit today. Just a little bit of struggle. Hopefully not too serious, though. There you go. Let's try if we could. What if I did 10 plus 2? Would you know what that was? 10 plus 2? Well, I'm just having trouble with my markers today. Okay, we're going to try something a little bit different. I got a different board, and hopefully this is going to work better. So what if I did 10 plus 2? Would you know what that was? 10 plus 2, of course, is 12. What if I told you 15? Could you tell me what I would have to add to 10 to get 15? If you said 10 plus 5 is equal to 15, you would be right where you need to be. So you need to be, oh, that erases much better. All right, so let's do 19. What would I have to do to get 19 if I was going to add something to 10? What would that be? If you said 9, congratulations. What if I said 17? What would I have to add to 10 to get 17? Did you say 7? If you did, way to go. What if I had 10 plus 1? What would that be? 10 plus 1 would give us 11. Oh, look at that. I said 11 and then wrote 12. You silly girl. Would be 11. So 10 plus 1 would be 11. 9 plus 10 would be 19, and 10 plus 7 would be 17. These are some of the facts. Oh, that's erasing much better, isn't it? I think I'm going to have to start using that board. All right, now we're going to practice making the next 10. So if I showed you 9, if I wanted to get to the next 10, what would I have to add to 9 to get to the next 10? Well, if you said 9 plus 1 would get me to the next 10, you would be exactly where I needed you to go. What if I said 19 and I wanted you to go to the next 10? Would you know how to get to the next 10? Well, if you said you would also have to add 1 so that you could get to 20, you would be exactly correct. What if I said 29? Would you know how to get to the next 10? You think about that for a minute. What would I have to add to 29 to get to the next 10? If you said you would add 1 so that I could get to the next multiple of 10, you would be right, which would put me at 30. All right, so we're going to try another sequence of that. And I think I'm going to turn my board this way so I can get a few more on there. What if I started with 5 and I wanted to get to the next 10? If I started with 5 and I wanted to get to the next 10, wouldn't I need to add 5 so I could get to the next 10? I would. I would need to add 5 to get to the next 10. What if I had 15 and I wanted to get to the next 10? Well, the next 10 would be 20, wouldn't it? Because I'm skip counting by tens, and I would need to add 5 to 15 to get to the next 20. All right, we're going to keep going with this sequence. 25 plus something to get me to the next 10, which would be 30. What would I have to add to 25 to get to the next 30? Are you seeing a pattern here? I, of course, would need to add 5. What if I wanted to get to the next 10, which would be 40, and I was starting with 35? I would add the next. What would I need to add to 35 in order to get 40? I would need to add 5. All right, let's try another sequence of getting to the next 10. Let's start with 8. What would I need to add to 8 to get me to the next 10, which of course would be 10? And we're talking about the multiples of 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. What would I need to add to the next 10 to be able to do that? If you said you would add 2, you would be absolutely correct. Then you could do 18. I want to get to the next 10, which would be 20. What would I need to add to 18 to get to the next 20? Well, 8 plus 2 gave me 10, so if I had 2 more and I could add that to the 8, my 8 ones and 2 ones, would that get me to 20? It absolutely would. What if I had 28 and I wanted to get to the next 10, which was 30? would I have to add? Well, 8 plus 2 would give me the next 10, which would put me at 30. What if I had 38 plus something to get me to the next 10, which would be 40? Again, 8 plus 2 would get me to the next 10, which would be 40. Okay, let's try one more of those. Let's do 7 this time. What would I have to add to 7 to get to the next 10, which would be 10? Well, if you know your 10 facts, you know you would be adding 3. What if I had, oops, sorry, not the right number. What if I had 17 and I wanted to get to the next 10, which would be 20? Would I have to add 7 and 3 to get to the next 10? I would. What about 27? What would I have to add to 27 to take me to the next 10, which would be 30? 7 plus 3 would take me to the next 10. And what if I had 37? Do you see how I'm using that 10 fact to help me get to the next 10? I'm using 7 plus 3, because I know that's 10. That pushes me from 2 10s to 3 10s. If I wanted to get to the next 10 with 37, which would be 40, I would think to myself, what do I have to add to those 7 ones? That would get me where I need to go, and of course that would be 3, because 3 plus 1 gets me to the next 10. I have 3 10s already, and that would put me at 40. All right, so now we're going to use that make 10 strategy to help us with 39 plus 4. So I'm going to do a quick 10 with 1, 2, I have 3 10s. Yes, 3 10s right there. I think maybe I might need to make those just a little bit bigger. I've got 3 10s and 9 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 3 10s and 9 1s, and I'm going to add 4 more. So I've got 9, 1, so that gives me 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could do that with my quick 10s, and I would have 33 10s. Now it's 4 10s, and 3 more would give me 43. That's how I would do that if I was doing it with quick 10s. Now I'm going to show you a couple of other ways that you could do that. So I'm going to erase my quick 10s, and if you need to, you can go back and look at that again. I'm going to now take my 39 plus 4. Now this is going to be familiar to you to what we did last week. So 39 plus 4, I'm going to look at my 1s and ask myself the question, how many more would it take to make 10 if I had 9? Well, would that be, I would need 1 more to make 10. So I'm going to break my 4 apart and pull out the 1 that I need to make that a 10. Okay, are you seeing that? And then I'm thinking about this as a mini number bond. 1 plus what number would give me back 4? Well, you do need to know those basic facts of 1 plus 3 would give me 4. So now I'm thinking I have 39 plus 1 more, which gives me 10. So 39 plus 1 more would give me 40. Yes, that puts me at 40. So 39 plus 1 more gives me 40. And 40 plus the 3 that I haven't used yet would give me 43. So I could do it by pulling 1 out and getting to the next 10, which would be 39 plus 1 more would get me to 40. And then I'm going to use the 3 ones that I still have left and add that to the 40, because anytime you add something that ends with a 0, which is a multiple of 10, it's really easy to add the next number. All right, let's try another one of those and see if we can make that a little easier for you to look at. So let's look at 39 plus 4. Let's look at 39 plus 4. Whoops, there it is, 39 plus 4. So I want to be able to get to the next 10. In order to do that, I'm going to take 1 out of my 4. I'm going to make a little mini number bond. I'm going to take 1 out of the 4 and add it to the to 39. So 39 plus 1 gets me to 40. Yes? 39. Oh, wait a minute. That's the one that we just did. I am so sorry. Let's try a different one. I was repeating the same one again. Let's do, sorry, 49. My bad. 49 plus 5. Are we ready to try 49 plus 5? So if I want to get to the next 10, what am I going to need to do to get this to the next 10, which would be, I would need to break my 5 ones into 1 and 4, because if I add 1 to 49, aren't I going to get 50? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this 5 apart into 1 and 4, because it's still the same number. I've just broken it apart. If I take 49 and I add that 1, does that give me 50? It certainly does. So now I'm going to take 50, because it's really easy to add when I have a multiple of 10. I have 4 that I haven't used yet. I'm going to add that to my 50 and get 54. How did that feel to you? Did that feel pretty good? All right, well, let's keep going. We've been doing these little number bonds now all last week, so hopefully this is going to come into your head more clearly. Let's try 79 plus 5 this time. All right, the first thing I want to think about is, what do I have to do to get to the next 10? Well, the next 10 in this case would be 80. So I'm going to break 5 apart into 1 and 4. I'm going to add that 1 to my 79, because if I go 79 plus 1, which is really easy, that takes me to my next 10. Yes? And then I have 4 that I haven't worked with yet. 80 plus 4 would equal 84. Wow, that is way cool. I am very excited about what this is looking like. Okay, let's try. This is new to me too, friends. I've never done it this way before, but I'm kind of liking it. What if I had 48 plus 5? Could we apply that same principle? What would it take for me to get 48 up to the next 10, which would be 50? Well, this time I know that it's going to take 2, because 2 plus 8 would give me 10, yes? And that would put me up to the next 50. So I'm going to say 48 plus 2 equals 50. Woohoo! Wait a minute, I didn't finish my number bond over here. 3 and 2 and 3 would make 5, so I have my little mini number bond there. And I still have 3 that I haven't used yet. So 50 plus that 3 would give me 53. Now I'm going to tell you, when you do your exit ticket today, this is the kind of problem that you're going to have to show me, that you understand how to do this kind of pull out 2 to make the next 50, add in. So we're taking out and adding in. Taking out 2 to add to the 48, then I'm adding from 48 to 50, and then I'm adding the 3 back in to get 53. Let's try another one. Let's do 7 plus 29. Now don't get confused, because I've changed that just a little bit. Still the same kind of a problem. I'm asking myself the question, what do I have to do to get 29 up to the next 10? Well, I'm going to break 7 apart and pull out 1. That's going to leave me 6 because 6 plus 1 is 7. I'm going to pull out 1 and I'm going to add that to 29. 29 plus 1 equals 30. And then I just need to add in the ones I haven't used yet. 30 plus 6 gives me 36. That is so cool. I really like that. All right, so let's try, here's another one. Let's try 7 plus 48. Ooh, that one's going to be interesting. 7 plus 48. What would I need to get me to the next 10, which would be 50? Well, I know that if I add 8 and 2, I will get a 10, which would put me up to 50. So I'm going to break 7 apart into a number bond of 2 and 5. Why? Because if I add 2 and 8, that will get me up to the next 10. So 48 plus this 2 gets me to 50, because it certainly is a lot easier when I add numbers that end in 0 or a multiple of 10. 50 plus the 5 that I haven't used yet gets me up to 55. Wow, that is way cool. All right, let's try one more here. Let's try one more. Let's do 77 plus 6. All right, so 77 plus 6. I want to get up to the next 10, which would be 80. What would I have to add to my ones to get up to 80? Well, I know that 7 plus 3 would give me 10, so I'm going to break my 6 apart into 3 and 3. Now, 77 plus 3 puts me at 80, and when I am done, I know that I still have 3 more that I need to add, so 80 plus 3 gives me 83. So making those groups of 10 really helps me to be able to add a double digit and a single digit. Congratulations to you if you are seeing how that works. If not, you can go back and look at this video again and try it again on your own. Okay, so now we are going to try a little word problem. Maya counted all the fish in the fish tank. She counted 38 goldfish. So she's got 38 goldfish, and there are 4 blackfish. Okay, so here is our problem. We have Maya she counted all the fish in the tank. There were 38 goldfish, and there were 4 blackfish. We need to find out how many fish were there in all swimming in the tank. So we know that 38, that would be 38 plus 4, because we're trying to find out how many fish were swimming in the tank in all. Now, I want to think about what we just did a few minutes ago, where we were looking at what would be the next closest 10 to 38. Well, the next closest 10 to 38 is going to be 40. So I'm going to break my 4 apart, and I'm going to take out a 2, because if I add 2 and 8, won't that help me to get to the next 10? And there would be 2 more that I haven't used yet. So I am going to add 38 plus 2 will take me to 40. 38 plus 2 will take me to 40. And then I have 2 more that I haven't used yet. 40 plus those 2 gives me 42. So there are, I'm sorry, got to get that up a little bit farther. There are 42 fish in the tank. Boy, my pen is not writing very good. There are 42 fish in the tank. Okay, we're going to try that, a problem similar to that, except we're going to change our numbers. We're still going to work with goldfish and blackfish, and we're going to say that there are 45 goldfish and there are 4, well, let's do 3. Let's do 3 blackfish. So there are 45 goldfish and 3 blackfish. We're going to find out how many fish there are altogether. So 45 plus 3 would equal. Now, I'm asking myself the question, what would, oh dear, I need to change that. I am going to change that. I am going to change that to an 8. I apologize for that. Sometimes when you're thinking on your feet, you got to be doing something a little bit different. So I have 45 goldfish and 8 blackfish, and I want to find out how many fish all in total are swimming in the tank. Well, I need to ask myself the question, how do I get to the next 10? Well, I know that if I want to get to the next 10, which is 50, I'm going to have to add 5. So I'm going to break 8 apart into 5 and 3, because 5 plus 3 is 8. All right? So now let's add 45 plus 5 gets me to 50. Yes? 45 plus 5 gets me to 50, and 50 plus the 3 that I haven't counted yet puts me at 53. So there you have it. There would be 53 fish in all. There would be 53 fish in all. Okay, should we try one more of those? I think we should. Let's try one more of those. Let's do, we'll stay with the goldfish. That's just less for me to have to think about. Let's say that we had 27 goldfish and we had, let's do 8 blackfish again. So 27, oh, sorry about that. Got to shut my alarm off. Okay, there we go. So 27 goldfish plus 8 more blackfish. We want to find out how many do we have all together. So 27 plus 8. And I want to know how many fish there are all together. What would I have to add to 27 to get myself up to the next 10? Well, I know that 3 plus 7 would get me to the next 10, so I'm going to break 3 apart, or 8 apart into 3 and 5. So I would add 27 plus that 3 would get me to 30. 27 plus that 3 gets me to 30. And then I have 5 more left that I have. Oops, my brain is thinking a little bit ahead of itself. 30 plus those 5 that I haven't counted yet would get me to 35. Okay? Alrighty, so hopefully if I move that up just a little bit, you can see what is happening there with that word problem. Alright, so now you need to have your problem set. Let's get our problem set out. You might have to look through that just a little bit. So you need to have, I'm going to move this in closer. You need to have your problem set for lesson 5. This is the problem set. I'm sorry that that is really hard to read. The problem set. And we're going to work these through together for the next few minutes. So we have 9 plus 3. Remember, we're going to try and get to the next 10. So from 9, the next 10 would be 10. I know that if I add 9 plus 1, I get 10. And then 10 plus the 2 that I had that I didn't use would get me to 12. So 9 plus 3 then would be 12. Do you have to show this to me? Yes, you have to show me how you are breaking that apart. Let's come over to this next problem where we have now 19 plus 3. Well, I want to get to the next 10, So I'm going to break this apart into, well, what would take me to the next 10? I would need 1, and that leaves me with 2. So I have a little mini number bond. 1 plus 2 is 3. I'm going to take 19 and add that 1, so I get to the next 20, or the next 10, which would be 20. And then I'm going to take the 2 I haven't used yet. 20 plus that 2 gives me 22. All right? So therefore, 19 plus 3 is 22. Okay? I'm going to do, let's do one more together. Now I'm going to do the next 2 with you together, and then I'm going to let you try the last 4 on your own. So I have 18 plus 4. I want to get to the next 10, which would be 20. So I'm breaking 4 apart into 2 and 2. Because if I add 18 plus 2, I'm going to get to the next 10, which is 20. And then 20 plus 4, which is, my brain gets ahead of myself because I just see where it needs to go. 20 plus that next 2 puts me at 24. So, no, puts me, where am I going? Miss Star puts me at 22. I don't know where 24 is coming from, and I apologize. Probably that 4 up there. So 18 plus this 2 gives me 20, and 20 plus this 2 gives me 22. Okay, let's hope I don't goof up on this one, shall we? I want to get to the next 10 with 38, which would be 40. So I'm going to break my 7 apart into 2 and 5. Why? Because if I take 38 and I add 2, I get to 40. Yes? And then take the 40, which I just got to, because it's easier to add 40 plus 5, gets me to 45. All right, there you go. Now you're going to pause the video, and I would like you to try these next 4 problems on your own. Pause the video, work these problems, and then I'll be back with you in just a minute to see how you did. Pause the video. Are you back? Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at 37 plus 5. I want to get to the next 10, which would be 40. So I'm going to break 5 apart into 3 and 2. Why? Because when I add 37 plus 3, I get 40. And then I take my 40 and I add the 2 that I haven't used yet, and I get 42. Therefore, 37 plus 5 is 42. And I noticed a big boo-boo that I made up on these. I did not put in my final result on that part, and I apologize, my bad. All right, let's move on then and hope I don't make that boo-boo again. Let's look at 57 plus 6. Wow, this is big stuff for second graders. 57 plus 6. Well, I need to get to the next 10, which would be 60. So what would I add to 57 to get there? It's a good thing I have an eraser. I'm going to break my 6 apart into 3 and 3. I know that if I add 3 to 57, I'm going to get 60. Yep, because we're trying to get to that next 10. I still have 3 that I haven't used yet, so I'm going to add 3 to that 60 and get 63. Therefore, 57 plus 6 is 63. This is helping you to be able to do a little bit more of this up in your head, even though we're doing a lot of writing right now. If you practice this enough, eventually you'll be able to do mental math. So now I have 6 plus 68. I need to get to my next 10, which would be 70. So I want to break my 6 apart into 2 and 4. 2 plus 4 gives me 6, but if I add 2 to 68, 68 plus that 2 puts me at 70. Yes, well that's easy, just going up by 2. And 70 plus the 4 that I haven't used yet gets me to 74. Therefore, 6 plus 68 gets me to 74. Okay, now I'm going to go to problem H, and I have 8 plus 78. I want to try and get to my next 10, which would be 80. So I am going to break my 8 apart into 2 and 6. Why? Because 6 plus 2 is 8. Now I'm going to take that 78 and add the 2 that I just took out so that I can push myself up to 80. Now it's easy for me to think that 80 plus this 6 that I haven't used yet will get me to 86. Therefore, 8 plus 78 is 86. How did you do? Are you finding success by taking out and going to the next 10? I hope that you are. Let's take a look at our next problem over on page 76. We have a word problem that we are going to solve. Maria solved 67 plus 5 as shown. Show Maria a faster way to solve 67 plus 5. Well, you could do it this way, but you know what? That takes too long. Oh my gosh, I don't want to draw all of those circles. Of course, she could make it a little bit faster by changing those to quick tens. Couldn't she? She could change those to quick tens. Yeah, she could. But you know what? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 plus 2 more. Even that is too long, I think. You could do it that way. But how about if we do it the way that we just did a few minutes ago? Let's take a look at 67 plus 5. So 67 plus 5, how can I get to my nearest 10 from 67, which would be 70? I'm going to break 5 apart into 3 and 2. I can then take 67 and add that 3 that I just took out, and I can go to 70. Yes? Okay, now I just have 2 that I haven't used yet, so 70 plus that 2 gives me 72. I got the same answer, but I don't know about you, I did a lot less work. And people who are mathematicians are always looking for the very fastest way to get to a solution. You can do it this way, but it will sure take a lot longer. I would prefer that you do this method of taking out 3, moving to the next closest 10, and then taking that 10 and adding what you haven't used yet. That's what mathematicians do. So we are going to use RDW to solve this next problem. That is read, draw, and write. Read, draw, and write. This is a method for helping us to be able to solve word problems. So first of all, we have to read the problem. Jessa collected 78 shells on the beach, and I'm also going to use cubes. I'm going to circle the numbers. Susan collected 6 more. Okay, I'm using cubes and I'm circling the numbers. She collected 6 more than Jessa. How many shells did Susan collect? So we're trying to find out how many shells Susan has. We know how many shells Jessa has, right? So first of all, we had to read the problem. So I am going to think about what I need to do to solve this problem. Alrighty, so let's take, we know that Jessa had 78 shells and that Susan collected 6 more. Now that more is very important, so that tells me that I have to add more to what Jessa had. So I'm going to add in the 6 more than what Susan had. So Susan had, or not, so, sorry, that's Jessa. Jessa had 78, and Susan had 6 more. So Susan had 6 more. So I need to find out how many shells did Susan collect. So I'm writing it out and kind of drawing the picture so I can see where I'm going. So 78 plus the 6, well, I can do this. This is a piece of cake, just what we did up here. We're going to take that 78 and I'm going to ask myself, how do I get to the next 10? Well, I know that if I do 2 plus 8, that will give me 10. So I'm breaking my 6 apart into 2 and 4. Now 78 plus the 2 that I drew out so that I could get to the next 10, which is, whoops, not 70. That's okay, Miss Star, you can make that an 8. Make that an 8, which puts me at 80. Then I just have 4 more that I need to add to 80. 4 more that I need to add to 80, which gives me 84. So I know that Susan collected 84 shells. And I did this the fast way. Now I could draw out the picture. I absolutely could. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tens. 7 tens the quick way, and then do 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I'm not going to have enough space if I do that. I'm going to have to come down just a titch more. Yeah, you could do it with your quick tens. You absolutely could go with your quick tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2. There's 78. Then I have to do 6 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be a quick 10 here, makes another 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, plus those 4 gives me 84. But I don't know about you, I like the fast way. All right. Okay, now we're going to move on to, this is lesson 5 and the homework page. So this will give us a little bit more practice on what we've been doing. I am going to do the first 2 with you, and then I'm going to have you try the next ones on your own. So let's do the first 2 together. We have 9 plus 3, and of course I want to get to the nearest 10, so I'm going to break 3 apart into 2 and 1. So 9 plus 1 equals 10, and 10 plus the 2 I haven't used gives me 12. Therefore, 9 plus 3 is 12. I'm going to do this one with you. I want to get to the nearest 29 plus 5. I want to get to the nearest 10. So I'm going to break 5 apart into 1 and 4. 29 plus 4 equals, oh, not 29 plus 4, Ms. Star, 29 plus 1. That wouldn't get me to the next 10. That would put me at 30. And then 30 plus the 4 I haven't gotten gives me 34. Therefore, I know that 29 plus 5 is 34. All right, so you're on your own to try these. And yeah, you're going to give them a little try and then pause the video, work the problems, and then we'll come back and talk about them. Okay? Are you back? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to tell you that I'm going to break 7 apart into, well, I need to get to my next 10, which would be 50, so I'm breaking this apart into 6 and 1. 49 plus 1 gives me 50, and then 50 plus 6 gives me 56. Did you get 56 here? Okay, I don't know that I'm going to show you how to do every one of these. Hang on just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so let's take a look at 59 plus 6. I want to get to the next 10, so that would be 60. So I'm going to break 6 into 6 and 1. 59 plus 1 gives me 60, and 60 plus 5 gives me 65. So if you got 65 here, congratulations. All right, so let's take a look at 18 plus 4. Did you come up with 22 for that one? If you did, congratulations. If you, I think you probably should have shown your work, but you needed to show your work. But to make the video just a little bit shorter, I'm going to give you what you should have had for the next two answers. For 48 plus 6, you should have come up with 54. And I am going to do this one all the way with you. I want to go to the next 10. So that's going to be breaking this apart into 2 and 4. 58 plus 2 gets me to 60. 60 plus 4 gives me 64. Did you come up with 64 there? I hope you did. I want to get to 80, so I'm going to break 8 apart into 2 and 6. 2 and 6. 78 plus 2 gives me 80. Now I'm going to add that 6 in that I haven't used yet, and I get 86. Did you end up with 86? I hope you did. Now you're going to continue on with page 79 of your homework, and here we go. Pause the video, work these 4 problems, and then come on back, and then we'll do the word problem together. Okay? Alrighty. Pause the video. Are you back? Okay, here we go. We are going to try to get to the next 10. So I want to get to 70. I'm going to break 5 apart into 3 and 2. 67 plus 3 gets me to 70, and 70 plus 2 gets me to 72. Did you come up with 72? If you did, congratulations. All right, let's take a look at 87 plus 6. I want to get to my next 10, which would be 90, so I know I'm going to have to break my 6 apart to 3 and 3. Why? Because 87 plus that 3 gets me to 90, and then 90 plus 3 gets me to 93. And most of this, I'm starting to get better at being able to do it in my head. I hope you are too, as I have never really looked at it this way. So I want to get to the next 10, which would be 60, so I know I'm breaking this apart into 1 and 5. 59 plus 1 gets me 60, and 60 plus 5 gets me 65. So I know that 6 plus 59 is 65. And did you end up with 85 here? If you did, congratulations. You are doing a great job. Let's go ahead and come down and use the read, draw, and write to solve this problem. We're also going to be using cubes, so we remember to circle the numbers, underline the question, box the keywords, X out extra information, and set up and solve. So there are 28 students at recess. 28 students at recess, and a group of 7 came outside to join. So more came outside to join. I'm going to box that because that's important. And how many students are there now? So I'm thinking about what this is going to look like. I have 28 students. I've done the read part. Now I've got 28 students who are outside. I'm going to draw this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1, 2, 3. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 28 students who were already outside at recess. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 who came out to join them. So I could draw that out to see what that looks like. So I've got 28. Now how would I get to my next 10? I'm going to need to, let's see. You'll forgive me, but I went and redrew this so it was a little easier for you to see. So I have 28 students who are already outside at recess. I'm going to have to add 2 more students to that group in order to be able to get to my next 10, which puts me at 30. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that would be 30. That would be 30 because I can make that a 10. So 30 plus 5 more would give me 35. Now let's do this. That's drawing it out. Let's take a look at what we've been working on. 28 plus 7. So I had 28 students who were out at recess and 7 who came out to join them. Let's break 7 apart. We want to get to the next 10, which would be 30, so I know I'm going to need 2 and 5. 28 plus 2 gives me 30, and 30 plus 5 gives me 35. So there are 35 students at recess now. I like this way better. I mean, drawing it's okay, but this way is so much faster. And if I can do it by just thinking, well, we'll keep working on that. So I can start doing this now in my head. And now we're going to go to the exit ticket. So here's the exit ticket. Here is the exit ticket, and I need you to remember to send this to your teacher. Okay, you need to send this to your teacher every day. And you know what? Miss Starr is not going to work the exit tickets for you. You're going to have to do that yourself. So you're going to look at 39 plus 4. Show all of your work. I want you to show everything. Oh, and don't forget your name. Oh, please remember your name and your last initial and today's date, whatever that was. Today's date, let's see, what was the date? Oh, yeah, 9/8/20. So you're going to have to show how you get 39 plus 4 and 58 plus 7. Miss Starr is not going to be working the exit tickets anymore. No, I really shouldn't do that because this is our way, your way to show us that you know what you're doing. So I probably shouldn't have done that last week, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So be sure you send this to your teacher as soon as you are done. And I will see you for the next lesson tomorrow.